great, great, great statements and wisdom that you can expect. So a very warm welcome to Breaking Barriers, Shaping Future Success. On behalf of Alpian, my name is Olga Miller. I'm a financial services influencer and innovator, and today the moderator for this webinar. And what more topical day than the 1st of March to hold this discussion on barriers and success, because with this, we would love to inspire all of you and welcome all of you also to Women's History Month March. But don't despair, it's not going to be all about gender equality and women, by far not. I would love to kick this off with some good news. Did you know that actually the amount of female entrepreneurs is rising at staggering rates? As an example, in the UK, almost 34% of all newly funded businesses have been developed by women. And in Switzerland, according to the EFJ, from 50,000 startups in 2022, 36%, so more than a third, were funded by women, and 46% already had mixed teams, which I think is enormous and great progress. And I think it's positive news like that we shall take as an inspiration when all of these statistics start to hit us about what's wrong with gender equality and what still could be fixed. Today's panel is not about what could be fixed, it's about future opportunities and is about how we can use our own inner strength to actually shape future success. Now, enough from me. You didn't come to hear from Olga, you came to hear from a fantastic panel. Please note this webinar is interactive, so ask your questions in the chat function, and Jacques will then post them to me here on stage or to all of us. I think you also will have the opportunity to vote on each other's questions, so please don't shy away to ask any questions you might have or also to contribute to the discussion. Now, let me introduce to you the panel. And maybe I will start with Belinda. Belinda, hello, are you here and where are you joining us from?
Hi, yeah, I'm super happy to be here to join you all. I am currently in Bratislava. I'm having a good practice week because I am, in front of some important tournaments, which I will be flying to on Saturday. I'm going to Indian Wells and Miami and then Charleston. It's going to be a 6-7 weeks trip. So yeah, I'm preparing for that. And currently I'm traveling a lot. So I'm not not home often, but I'm really enjoying the progress I'm making, and I've had a good season so far. So yeah, I'm very motivated to continue.
Fantastic. We're absolutely delighted that you could join us today from Bratislava. And then let's welcome Géraldine. I think you're dialing in from Dubai, and you said that you already jumped from the plane today 8 times before joining the panel. Is that right?
Yes, it is. I'm happy to join you all today. And yes, I did train a lot today. I've been actually filming for a TV show for flying over the desert of Dubai from the plane. So it was very nice.
Fantastic. And then Effie, you coming from Zurich, but you just returned from Barcelona, right? From the Mobile World Tech Congress. You will be telling us about this a little bit later. And I understand that you actually are a finfluencer, and you told me that you have reinvented yourself and your career already 5 times. Can you tell a little bit about your story there? What's this with the reinvention?
Thank you. Thank you for having me in this absolutely amazing company and energy that I already feel despite the digital connection. I'm getting better and better on feeling energy online. And yes, I've reinvented myself more than 5 times. As I grew up in Greece and then studied in the US and worked there, married a diplomat and moved across the world 5 times. And I chose to reinvent myself wherever I was within a family context and my business. And I'm really excited to share my challenges and successes and how I handled the fact that I realized that my social and business networks are not portable despite the technology, and my sense of belonging was fragmented. So I'm excited to share with you later how I dealt with that.
Fantastic. This will be certainly a very entertaining and insightful story. And Marion, coming from Geneva, you are the managing director of Alpian. What keeps you excited? Keep building a bank. What brings you here? What keeps you excited doing this? Because I know from personal experience, it's very hard.
So thank you for having me as well. What excited me a lot and daily is people. I think it's very important to say that our daily work with talented, intelligent, and very passionate people, and which, you know, they always deliver continuously new features, new services to our digital bank. And I think this is, yeah, what pushes me quite a lot. We're trying to create something from scratch. We have created it, which is a big milestone for us, and we continuously want to add value for them and build a partnership over a long time basis. So this is what drives me.
And I think that that stands very well for what Alpian stands for altogether, using the power of the technology to enhance our abilities as humans, right? Maybe playing it over to you, Belinda and Géraldine. You are Alpian ambassadors, certainly very unusual for you potentially to kind of partner with a bank. Belinda, why did you decide to partner with Alpian?
Well, I think first of all, I just felt, you know, Alpian it just fit, you know, me as a person, because it's becoming so different, you know, the world of banking and, you know, a digital private bank, you know, it's going like to the future, and also it's very, you know, adapting to people's needs, what they think, you know, young people, like, I think everyone is becoming more and more individual and just more and more, I don't know, chasing their dreams, becoming more confident. And I feel like this is what Alpian does very good. Like it really adapts to the needs of the current, you know, generation of people, and, you know, what they need and how they feel more comfortable, you know, to be, to start to be successful, to just not be so shy, and, you know, to have the confidence just to start their own businesses and just, you know, to be in the world of banking a little bit, you know, see it a little bit different, you know, how it used to be. And for me, I'm super happy to be an ambassador for Alpian, because I hope to influence, you know, I don't know, also my age group, but also, you know, athletes, you know, sports people, you know, to see, just to be in my world a little bit, you know, an inspiration.
Absolutely. And that's what we all have come here today, right? To inspire and to share the stories. But enough of us, let's see who all the people in the audience are. I think, Jacques, who is managing the webinar, you should have a poll for everybody, just to see where all of you are from. And here it comes on the screen, right? So anyone who's just joined us, please give us a little bit of vote of where you are coming from. What made you join this webinar? We are so happy to have you here. And also, again, please feel free to type in any questions into the chat that you might want to ask Belinda, Géraldine, Effie, Marion, or even myself. Let's see what people will say. We can't see and we can't vote. Maybe while we're waiting for the results, Géraldine, a quick couple of words from you. Why did you become an Alpian ambassador? What did draw you as an adventurer, actually, to partner with a bank?
For me, it's important to fit with my partner, and I really like Alpian because it's a bank that is fitting into my world. The people are really accessible, and they are really listening to my needs. And this is really why I decided to choose Alpian and be an ambassador. I want to also show the people that a bank can be like that, can be accessible, can help you to reach your dreams, even you are not a top level and have a lot of money. For me, it was really important also to show that if you have big dreams, it's impossible. It's really important to have the good partners around you. And Alpian is really showing that every needs, from every level are important, and you can really reach your goals, and really listening to that.
Fantastic. And
May
we
I
will
add something to this as I listen to both of the ambassadors? I'm thinking that, you know, private banks are connected with mahogany conference tables and, you know, special chocolates and that type of service. And we live in an age where
People in suits.
this is not, you know, the era that we're living in, and there shouldn't be segmentation, neither with the amount of wealth or savings, because everybody should have access to what they need. And if they need advice and a hybrid way of investing, they should have access to it. So it's really about democratizing and bringing private banking to this day and age, I think.
absolutely. Even though I don't mind the chocolate, but probably for a webinar, I have to get my own. Absolutely. Hey, did we receive the results of the poll? Let's see where all of you are coming from. I think maybe Jacques can show us the results by now.
Yes, so the result is completed. We'll share it. Here it is.
Oh, so we have many people coming from the French part, and actually so many listeners also from outside Switzerland. That's wonderful. We're delighted that you all have found us today. That's really cool. There will be more chances to do some polls later on some new trends and also artificial intelligence. But for now, let's continue to kind of the first, I would say, topic of discussion around stories, barriers, and success. And I would love to start with you, Belinda. I mean, your journey has been absolutely exceptional, and I'm sure you get asked this question a lot, but what made you wanting to be a tennis player, and how did you even get there? Was this something that you wanted from very early on, or how has your story come about?
Well, yeah, my story was that my dad mostly, but both of my parents, you know, they really loved tennis. We had a tennis club very near our house. And yeah, so they were playing tennis for fun. And I just, you know, as their little daughter, I just came along to the tennis court. And I'm really competitive from nature, I would say. So I, you know, just started to try to hit the ball. And I was also very much a perfectionist, you know, and I didn't like when things didn't go my way, when I wasn't able, you know, to hit the ball over the net or inside the court. So maybe I showed a lot of interest already, you know, to practice and to have this discipline. And I think, you know, people always say, yeah, you know, we saw your talent very early on, but I don't think there is so much such thing as for talent, but I think there's more like a talent for, you know, having this discipline of working and, you know, trying again and not getting frustrated when you have a failure or not success. And yeah, and then as I became older, you know, I was watching tennis on TV. I was watching Roger Federer, Martina Hingis, you know, lifting the beautiful trophies, you know, when they won a tournament. And that was what was motivating me. I was really, you know, hoping that I can one day, you know, play in these amazing tournaments like Wimbledon or US Open and just, you know, become like them. So I think every day, you know, when I was practicing, I was kind of imagining myself, you know, to win one day or to be like that. So it was driving me. And yeah, with the success, you know, becomes the hunger. So, you know, when I felt like, okay, I'm maybe a little bit better than other kids or just, you know, having some success, I always wanted more. And so this is how it was my journey from the start. And yeah, now I always, even in this moment, I always have to appreciate that it was always my dream to be where I am right now, you know, so there is no reason to sometimes to be discouraged, you know, by failure or by bad results, because, you know, I always wanted to be here. So I might as well enjoy my time right now.
That's absolutely wonderful. And on this journey, what are kind of the biggest barriers that you felt you kind of had to overcome?
I think there is a lot of barriers and a lot of like hurdles that always come in your way, and there's never going to be an easy period. It's always going to be very up and down, very up and down, very much like a mountain and then down and mountain and down. So a lot of times I think it's just really, the journey that's, for example, injuries, or even, sometimes you have days where you just don't want to, work hard or go to the court and practice a lot, or there is really times where you struggle to be mentally strong on the court, and a lot of failures, you feel like you've practiced, I don't know, for months, and then you come for a match to the tennis court and you just cannot put two things together and just have a terrible day at the office, which also happens. But I think it's really what shapes you is always overcoming those hurdles and not feeling like a victim in these situations, but just really staying strong in these moments, and always believing that this is just a test of you having to overcome this and become stronger. And that's what I'm trying to do. It's not always a nice day, but most of the time I think it's worth it. And especially, when you have a good success, I think this is what you remember more. You always remember your success more than your failure. And, the taste of success is just it's just, I think, more intense than the feeling of a loss, so to speak. And I'm really happy with right now how my journey is going. It's not been going just up, but this is life, this is sport, and especially life, so I'm learning a lot for life as well through my sport.
And where do you take your energy from? This energy to believe, like, what is it that gives you energy every day?
Well, I think
the times are not that good.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the motivation. I always tell myself on worst days, to remember why I started to play, why this is my dream and why I want to achieve it. And I think that's helping me a lot. But also I think it's not always about working very hard, but sometimes you also have to take a step back, to take some time off, to recharge. For me, it's also, the nature, where I love to recharge and just walk my dog, or just go to the mountains, go to a lake, just really have this kind of connection to the nature, what gives me a lot of recharging and just having time for myself, just doing different things. And then I also sometimes can sort my thoughts, because I feel like when I'm forcing too much, like trying to be more perfect and just trying to be better all the time, sometimes you can be very, you're forcing it too much, and you can be very closed up, and your thoughts start racing and everything. So sometimes it's better to take a step back and just sort everything, and then, try again, maybe a different way.
Kind of calm down and look at it all with a different perspective. Don't we all need that every now and then? There is a question from the audience that I will ask straight away, right? Because I think it's a very interesting one. And by the way, anyone, if you see me kind of looking over there, I need to work with two screens because I have an invisible disability, so I see very badly. I couldn't be reading your questions without a massive screen. So the question that we got from the audience, Belinda, was actually one around money. It's a real question from Mina here, is asking whether you're managing your money yourself. Do you want to answer that?
That's a good question. That's definitely a very good question, because I feel like with athletes, you always start very early. You are very young when you're, becoming or starting to earn money. And it was always my dad or my mom and dad who were managing, my finances. I was 16 years old when I first started, being a professional and just earning money. So that's how it started. And then I just felt like now I also had an accountant that were doing a lot of things for me, trying to also teach me a lot of things. But right now I feel the desire to learn more about it, to manage my own money, my wealth, to invest, to learn more about it. And I think that's why also it was a great step for me to partner with Alpian, because, also me, I'm still, 25 years old, and I'm still learning a lot about this, but I really love this journey of having to do this myself and just, managing everything and just having the full control over my future, because it's, it's going to be my future. So yeah, so right now I'm doing it myself.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And everybody keep those questions coming. It's what brings this session to life. Maybe a very last question to you, Belinda, a short one. You currently in Bratislava practicing, training. What's next for you? Where will you be heading after this?
Next for me is flying on Saturday to the US to have some big tournaments there. So I feel like I'm well prepared. It's going to be a long trip, but yeah, this is how my life is, you know, a lot of luggage and hotels and changing hotels, going to the next tournament, losing, I don't know, on the evening and the same night to pack your things and just go to the next place. But yeah, I'm really motivated. I'm really confident it's going to go well. And yeah, so I think I've prepared very good, and I did everything I can control. And now the risk takes over and we see how it goes.
Okay, so we shall probably hear more about that a little bit later. Wonderful. Thanks so much for taking the time for being here today. We're going to move over to speak to the woman who already did 8 plane jumps before hopping on our webinar here, which is Géraldine. But before she comes and joins me here on the stage, I think the best way to illustrate what Géraldine really does is to see her actually doing it. So we have a very short video for all of you of one of her legendary adventures. And I don't know, Jacques, if you could play the video now. So I don't know how about you, but I'm always very puzzled when I see this video. Géraldine, can you still hear us? I think so, yeah. Hello, hello. You know, I'm always amazed when I see you flying down this Matterhorn. What makes you do this? Really, what drives you to do this?
The nature. I'm just so inspired by the nature, and this what's drive me and want me to discover new lines always, because and even more today that I understand it even more today that I'm a mom. My son every day struggling to learn how to stand, how to walk, how to speak, how to learn new things all the time. And I am like that. If I sit too long and learn nothing, I feel bored. So I really need always to discover new things, open and explore new things. And I'm really inspired by the nature. So I spend most of my time in the nature.
At one of the events when I saw you speak, you actually said, I'm an artist painting the mountain, right? What does it take to actually do this, what you do? Like the machine behind it, the science. I mean, certainly you are not just going up there and then taking a jump, right? So what does it take?
No, for sure. It was a long way to arrive at the top of the Matterhorn and finally being able to open that jump. It was a long journey. I had a normal job. I was working for Swissair at Geneva Airport because I wanted to be a pilot, and I thought that it was not accessible. And on the side, I was so passionate about the mountain, and I started to compete on freeride extreme competitions, and I got invited to participate at the Verbier X-treme, which is the most extreme competition of the world, and I won it at my first participation, and I was just 21 years old. And this what changed my whole life, because from one day to another I quit my job for my passion and to go on for my passion and do 8 years on the most extreme competitions, on the international freeride world tour, the international competitions, and I won 11 titles and 3 times the big final of the freeride, the Verbier X-treme. So, and this was what made my base of learning how to behave in the mountain, how to learn to be good in the mountain, how to learn when it's good, when it's not, when you have to turn around, when you have to understand more the conditions, and or to be just better with your technique, with your approach, with your material, with your team. And I try to approach base jumping exactly the same way that I did my snowboard competition. Really, I tried the smartest way I could, but from a really low level to get to a super high level, you have to train so much, you have to put so much time, so much energy. So a bit like Belinda, I haven't seen my family and friends so much, and I've been concentrating my entire time to this.
And on this journey, kind of the biggest barrier that you had to overcome? Is there anyone that would stand out?
The biggest barrier, I would say, first of all, as we call it extreme sports, that I hate this name, but my parents had to understand what I was doing because I needed their support. Without the support of my family and my closest friends, the closest people around me, I would never be at that level, and I could never continue what I was doing. And they did understand so much, and they even supported me in my biggest achievements. That was a game changer for me. And they did understand completely when I started to also tell them, look, today I'm not going because the conditions are like this, or I'm not feeling ready for this, or the conditions are this or that. So they know that I'm ready to turn around. They know that if I'm facing a big issue, I'm not pushing, and I have my limits. And as they know where are my limits, they are fully with me.
Understand. There is also a question from the audience for you. Somebody is asking here, what is more important to break barriers? Passion, patience, self-discipline, or all 3 of them? What's your take on that?
The 3 of them, I think. But I would say the first one is really being passionate about what you do. And if you are passionate about what you do, you can overtake nearly everything. But sometimes, even with passion, you have to be patient. And this is sometimes the most difficult, because you sometimes, like the Matterhorn, it was a dream to jump the Matterhorn for me in my life, but I thought it would never be possible because also the material was not existing at that time. The wingsuits were not good enough to jump off the Matterhorn because the top of the Matterhorn is very small. And achieving different goals and testing new wingsuit, I was getting there, and I was like, oh, actually, I thought that the next generation would be able to wingsuit fly from the Matterhorn, but maybe it would be me. Before the next generation, the material would be good enough to be able to realize that dream myself. And suddenly when I received my new prototype of wingsuit and I tested it with the GPS and I looked at my graphics and I could see how good my takeoff were and how good my flight was, I was like, actually, I'm sure I can do it. I have to go at the top of, I have to climb the Matterhorn and check the exact measurements. But with this wingsuit, with this prototype, I can probably be the first person to base jump off the summit of the Matterhorn. And
so your waiting period lasted how long? How long did you have to be patient until this material was developed?
From the day I saw the evolution growing so much, I had to wait 5 years. Because
that is a very long time.
Yeah, it's a very long time. The material was getting better and better, but the risk management was too big because at the beginning, the first 5 years, it was efficient, good. The material was getting better and better, but the margin was not big enough for my, and I decided to wait to have a better margin to be sure that I will enjoy this jump and I will not be scared about this jump.
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes it really is, as the person who was asking here, all three, but patience also can mean a very long time period. So thank you so much for being here with us today. Let's move over to the women of finance before we start to discuss the topic of risk. Effie and Marion, both of you, I think Effie, everybody is still very curious to hear from you how you reinvented yourself 5 times. Do you want to pick up on that story again?
I'll pick up on that story, definitely. I mean, as I probably mentioned, I grew up in Greece. I studied there mathematics, and then I decided at some point that I want to pursue a PhD in finance to really apply the mathematics, and that's how I started my career in the US and on Wall Street. I stayed there for 10 years. I must say these were the 90s, a very challenging environment on Wall Street in New York with mainly men there. I would say 100% men and women only in very supporting roles. So that was the first challenge, I must say, to be comfortable in that environment. And that's where I started realizing that we women may have assertiveness, or we may lose it, or not be so capable to be as assertive as we would like, and we confuse it with aggressiveness. So it was the first time I started realizing that I was unconsciously copying aggressiveness from men that didn't suit me, and that was my first sort of realization of I should really find myself in business and express myself in business as I am, and being assertive. And then I married my husband, and he was a diplomat. He is a diplomat, and I followed him. So we moved to France. We had a family, and there I decided to enjoy motherhood, but also I wrote 2 finance books. And then the minute I was done with that, and I thought I had found somewhere to put in my creative energy, we moved again, and I had to reinvent myself. And what I did then, I started working as a consultant, training. My principle was that I love exploring, and this curiosity is going to be my major asset and my major weapon in life, and not my technical knowledge. So I said, okay, I can't find the finance job where we moved. And then what am I going to do? I trained to be a consultant in breakthrough thinking, which really suited all this curiosity that I had, nothing to do with finance, did that training for 2 or 3 years. And then when I was ready to get clients, boom, we moved again. And then we moved to Canada, and there I found a way to teach at McGill University part-time and come closer to younger people and the generation. And this was actually around the time that the great financial crisis of 2008 happened. And right when I was pretty well established at McGill, then we moved again. And we came to Switzerland, and I decided to start training and educating myself on global innovations in financial services. And that's how the journey brought me to today, to being a global influencer there. What I really want to share with everybody is that I realized that the driving force of my reinvention was my passion to learn continuously by exploring. And for anybody that this resonates, just believe in that and follow your instinct. It really doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you are enjoying and learning and exploring and sharing. That's really what drives me every morning to what I do. And who knows, if I get bored with what I'm doing now, I have faith that I'll find the next one. Yeah.
And that is probably a wonderful experience, Effie, and a wonderful call to action for everybody that I think, Marion, you can relate to very well, right? Looking at your story, coming not necessarily from the banking world, and now being the managing director of a bank.
Yeah, I mean, Effie, what you're saying is resonating quite a lot in me. The learning process, as what you mentioned, Géraldine and Belinda, I think this is something very common to the four of us. And I'm including Olga because I know it's the same on her side. Exploring that part is extremely important. Learning in the process all the time. Learning is also challenging yourself. So always pushing to know what's next. Why, how I should add it into what I'm doing. Either it's when you're climbing a peak, Géraldine, either is when you are building a bank from scratch and you're looking at different aspects, whether it's operational or linked to investments or to compliance. I'm totally, you talk to me very, very much, Effie.
And I loved what Géraldine said earlier about when she's flying, about understanding the conditions. It really spoke to me because, you know, maybe somebody that is listening to me thinks that, you know, I'm a reckless person, you know, going whatever, you know, picking different have but it's really understanding the conditions and learning by doing. And taking the risk. I like to think of, you know, I love the novels of Pippi Longstocking. I don't know how it's called in French. I know Fifi Bredassier. I don't know in other languages, but it always stays in my mind where Pippi says, or Fifi Bredassier says that, I haven't tried this before. So I think I can definitely do this. Like, it's like you approach something new and a challenge with the confidence of somebody who really believes that it's worth putting the energy in it, and it will be wonderful. And it will be wonderful in the sense that you're going to learn a lot of things and share them. And of course, if you're in a community with others in a team, it will be an even more wonderful experience. That's really my my lifetime story, if you want.
And it is such a wonderful story. We also have a couple of questions here for you, Effie. And I suggest that we bring Belinda and Géraldine into the discussion, right? Because so many cool questions from the audience are coming. Maybe one, which probably is typical, but I will ask it nevertheless, is one for you, Effie. Did mathematics actually help to break barriers in your career?
100%. Mathematics for me is is really the blueprint of thinking. Because think of it, mathematics is the most beautiful and complete language that we human beings have invented. And it helps us think through abstract concepts. And abstract concepts are around us all the time. So for me, I think it is the way, it is a tool, like in French education, everybody should have some mathematics training because it helps the framework of thinking. But then I also admit and realize in my career and in my life that there's a need to combine a technical knowledge, whatever area we choose to put our energy in, with mental practices, be it, meditations, be it whatever it is, breathing. I think Belinda also referred to, some of these tools and practices that I think are absolutely integral to our life today more than ever. And I'm personally always looking to how to bring it into my content that is very much around financial innovation, but also looks at the fact that money is emotional, for example. Let's not forget about it. So when we are risk profiling, I'm sure Marion can talk about risk profiling, we put people in buckets, we look at them, but when you talk to people, you understand more where they're coming from. And I think that is a very important aspect of today, how to combine the digital with the human, and the fact that money and finances is extremely emotional. I don't know, what do you think, Marion? Isn't it emotional?
Yeah, most of the time people are asking, but you're a digital bank, so you have no interaction with the clients. That's actually totally the opposite. Each time we're using, in fact, everything with our app to spend time with our clients and to get to know him or her very well. So when we do risk profiling, we don't put them in buckets. That's a big difference that we have at Alpian. We totally, they are all unique. Each of them have their own risk profile. So we ask questions in order to know precisely their appetite to risk, of course, but also how they behave in front of finance. And we take their values as well. And based on that, we are able to create a portfolio for each of them. So this is different. But then once we have used the power of technology, we have the power of the humanity, I would say. We can talk directly to them. We contact them. We discuss with them. We spend time with them. We listen to their fears. We listen to their hopes. We listen to their dreams. And I think it's very important that you accompany them knowing all of this before you start any interactions with a bank. It should always be considered this way. So human is center of everything.
Let alone that these things also change over time, right? I'm a different person than I was 5 years ago. My thinking, Olga said earlier, our risk perception when we have kids changes completely. I have many examples of those, or, as we go through life, something might happen, and Géraldine's appetite of risking or her relationship with money might change. How do you feel about it, Belinda and Géraldine? Your relationship with money, do you feel that it's emotional?
Go ahead, Géraldine, you can start.
Yes, I think it's emotional for sure, because it's also what money make you able to access to your dreams, and it's super emotional when you get to close to reach it, because you have a goal, you try to find the solution to reach this dream, and suddenly you find the right person in your bank to help you to reach that dream, and suddenly this dream starts to be reachable. And for me, my biggest dream was to be able to buy my home, and that was really important for me. But I had also to have helps and to find out the best way to realize that goal. But then also my life, how to reach all my goals in my life and to pursue my dreams all along the way. And it doesn't stop. There is always something new. There is always something you want to achieve more. And it's exactly what we were talking about. It's all about exploration. It's a never-ending story. Life is to explore more things, to discover new things, and to achieve new goals. So for sure, you need great partners, and for me, this is really emotional in my sport, in the mountains. If you don't have emotions, you cannot achieve anything. And these mountains were, for example, to really show you also about the emotions, that there is things or places where you feel more emotions, or where you feel that you can reach the top more easily, because you feel much more the emotions. Everything is aligning, everything is right, and you feel that when you get to a point to reach your dreams. So for me, it's definitely emotional.
And Alpian has this wonderful concept of wealth beyond money, right? Which speaks exactly to this, what all of you have just outlined, kind of the emotional side of money, its power of what it can do for ourselves, for the planet, for humanity. Maybe one question over to you, Belinda. What is wealth beyond money for you?
Yeah,
what is your wealth beyond money?
For me, exactly. I couldn't agree more with what Effie said, and also Géraldine. And for me, really, money is, emotion as well. And also wealth beyond money is exactly what this means for me. I think for me personally, it means freedom, because I feel it can give you a lot of independence. In my case, I just feel it takes a lot of pressure off of me, when I know that my future is, or I invested well into my future, because my career or my work is not going to be forever. It's very physical. I played tennis since I'm 3 or 4 years old. So my body is definitely, taking a toll, and I'm going to be done when I will be 30 or 32 or 33, but it's not going to be forever. And I just feel like when my money will be wisely invested, I will, have an independent future. I can do whatever I want. I can stay in tennis. I can, do different things, explore different things, but I don't feel like I will, depend on, having to have a boss, over me and tell me, okay, 9 to 5, you're doing this every time. And I feel like all my childhood, and now also the years that I'm working very hard and putting a lot of discipline and a lot of work into myself. And I definitely want this, to pay off. And I also, have a lot of dreams for my future, for sure, to, have a great family, and to feel like, they have a great future in front of them with, a lot of opportunities. So I absolutely feel like also it's in the brand anthem of Alpian. It's definitely freedom for me. So that's what it means for me.
And I think I would be very curious, since we are on the subject of this wealth beyond money, and we probably could be debating it a whole afternoon, right? Let's hear from the audience. We have a poll for you that you could answer, that Jack will put up. So while we keep discussing here, you maybe can give us your vote where you see wealth beyond money. Coming back on the subject of risk and success and breaking down barriers, to any one of you on the panel who wish to answer this, do you feel that taking risk is a precondition for success? If you had some concepts around this in the previous discussion.
Well, I'm a firm believer that success is a very personal concept. So, as they say, if you judge an elephant by their ability to swim, of course, they're going to be a failure, and so on. So what is success for each one of us is extremely personal. So for me, because exploration and growth are very essential part of my life vision, taking risks is essential, because otherwise, how would I explore something new? I feel that I want to renew and refresh myself once I've mastered something. If it's becoming a bit repetitive and not challenging for me, and I don't feel that I'm growing, then I want to take the next risk and go for the next frontier. But that is not a recipe for everybody. Success is personal. You have to really ask yourself how you're measuring success. Is it, in some business KPI? Is it in some family KPI, community KPI? What is it? You have to have those priorities clear. And as I said, I think it's extremely personal.
And I think in the same way, money is very personal, right? I think there also is this concept that you mentioned earlier, Effie, around taking risk and managing uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you or Géraldine want to elaborate a little bit on this.
Yeah, for sure, because I definitely have to deal with that all the time. But also, I was thinking about we are all in a men's world, and I also really often get that question. It's also depends the way you look at the things. We can have a different perspective from above, from down, from more far away or closer to the things. But to me, like being in the men's world showed me that I can be capable of, because it's not because I'm a girl that I'm not capable of. Like the first time I was with my snowboard getting to the mountain, and it was just a full group of boys taking me with them in the team to go freeriding. They just told me, look, if at the end of the day you don't follow the group, you don't need to come back tomorrow. And I was like, actually, I'm gonna do everything to not be the last one today. And I was never the last one, but I was never the first one for sure. But I was able to come back the next day. And this was so motivating to me that I find out that finally today, it was so good, and it helped me to reach my goals in every step of my life, because I looked at it in a positive way, and I thought, okay, this is my motivation. I don't want to be the last one. I want to be like the first one. So I'm going to train. And every expedition, I was always the only woman. And on one of my expedition, I had to go to Baffin Island. And the goal was to open 8 new cliffs, and we had to climb for hours, and we had to make the track and to bring so many gear. And one of the guy told me, look, it's not because you're a girl and that you're not gonna also make the track and be in front of everyone and take all the bags like us and set up the camp and everything. And I was like, okay, so I better train as much as I can. And when I reached the base camp with everyone and we did the first recognition tour to climb the peaks, I was never the last one. And most of the time I was the first one making the track. And at the end, I was like, okay, you just need to train and to be able to reach your goals. And it's not because you're a woman that can be capable of. And I think to be surrounded by men helped me to be who I am today. And I really thank all my friends to be so hard with me from the beginning, because today I'm who I am because of them, for sure. But it's always the same in every single little problem you have in life. If you look at it in a positive way and with a smile, you always find a better solution, and you find strength in difficulties. And this helped me a lot. and also to analyze most of the risk I had to manage on the big goals. Like, for example, the Matterhorn had so many uncertainty. No one has done it before. No one has jumped the summit of the Matterhorn. I had calculated everything, my flights, my takeoff, how good I was on the takeoff. But then I had to go at the top of the Matterhorn to be sure that of the angle of the start, to be sure of the verticality of the mountain. And I decided to go there when I was ready, because I would be so sad not being able to jump off this mountain if the conditions will be perfect that day. So I trained as much as I could, and I decided to go and reach the top the day I was ready to jump that mountain. So that's also why it took me so long. And managing the risk sometimes, as we said, needs patience, passion and patience.
And
Patience.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, so taking strength from the challenge, right? Let me bring this back onto the poll, Jacques. Do we have the results of the poll? As we've seen, success is personal, so is money, and probably so is also your attitude to risk. And here we have it, right? So I think the majority of the audience actually agrees with you, Belinda. Well, beyond money being freedom of choice. And that could be reason enough for all of us to actually manage our money well. Now, for the last couple of minutes, since here in the chat, we're getting a lot of questions around AI and technology and where the trends are going. Effie, very briefly, what trends did you brought home from Barcelona, and where do you see the role of AI in the future? Long question for a short answer. I'm sorry.
Very long question. Two really concrete things to keep in mind. One is that AI and, specifically the GPT models that, the large language models that are all the rave lately with Chat GPT, all these are going to augment our productivity no matter what domain we are. In some domains, it will happen faster, and in others later. They are going to augment. They're not going to replace us. I don't foresee in the next 5 years that we are going to be losing jobs to robots. We will be losing jobs to people that train to use AI and adapt these tools and become productive, if you want. So I would urge people to approach this without fear and prejudice, and especially women, but everybody. Try out and experiment with the tools that are put out there. And as I said, you use them with the mindset of augmenting what you're doing. They are your friends. They're not your enemy. This is the world that we live in. Digital, take advantage of digital. Don't be afraid of digital. Those are my...
Fantastic. And Marion, is AI something Alpian is actively looking into?
Yeah, of course. We always keep an eye on all the type of technologies, of course. I mean, it's something you can include in your data. It's something you can, so at many levels, yes, definitely. I mean, you need to know who are your clients in the end, precisely. So you have it with your interaction you have with them, but as well with the data that you receive from them. When you open a bank account, you must receive some elements, as you need to be compliant with some rules. So to be able to really answer the needs of the clients, you need to be able to understand what their money is doing and where is it going, because this is what the people would like to know. Then you have to know precisely that they don't want to go for financial goals only. They also want to do good at the same time. How do you manage this? Artificial intelligence is one of the elements, but it's not the only one. You have other types of technologies you can use. Yeah, I would say that, yes, artificial intelligence is part of it, but not only.
I already can feel the passion in your voice. Now we started all of this, so probably a lot more to be seen from Alpian in that front. And we all started this panel to speak about how to break down barriers and shape future success. And if I understand you right, Effie, we should endorse technology as a tool and opportunity for us to help us getting there rather than a threat. Now, to round this all up, you know, your one personal tip for anybody who is listening here who wants to break down barriers and kind of take off like a rocket. Really short answer. What should these people do? What is the key to success? Starting with you, Belinda, your personal tip.
Well, I think there is a lot of personal tips that you have, and as Effie also said, you always keep learning and improving yourself. So 5 years ago, I probably knew I had less experience than now, for sure. And I think for sure it's to believe in yourself. I think it's the first thing that you have to do. I mean, you have no one else rooting for you, just yourself. You have to trust the process. It's definitely nothing is happening overnight just like this. You have to choose one way you go, and then go with continuity and with passion and with discipline. You cannot always do one day this and one day this. I feel like you have to follow one path and just trust the process. And it takes a lot of patience. I think it's really the results are showing after a long time of work, and it's never there is no shortcut to success. There is no easy way. And I think with a lot of passion, it's just easier. Everything that you do in life, it's when you love something that you do, it's always better. So for sure, choosing as well something that you are really interested in and what you have with passion, and just really following the way that you choose, and trusting your instincts, for sure.
Wonderful. Effie, Géraldine, Marion, anything to add on your end to these tips? I think Belinda summarized it so beautifully, but anything else to add?
I may add
recipes.
That it's wonderful what Belinda said. I'd like to add that look for opportunities to be part of a community, either in person or a digital community that can help you in your journey of learning, of exploring, of keeping up with all the changes and taking advantage of them. And none of us can make it on our own. We understand the world in a with our narrow experience, and with others we can understand it faster, especially if we belong to the community. So look for communities wherever you find them. Again, digital may help too, with common interests, passions, to explore, take risks together, learn. That's my 2 cents.
And Marion, Géraldine, any quick add-ons to this?
I would probably, I think Belinda and Effie had summarized it so well, but for sure what we can add is sometimes it's hard work, and sometimes we can lose faith and think that the dream is unreachable and maybe we are not capable of, but every day you make one more step, and every day you understand something more, and every day your goal is getting closer. So never lose the passion to make sure that you can reach your goals, because sometimes it takes a little longer, but you can reach it, I'm sure. If you are fully passionate about your dreams, it's possible. Make the impossible possible.
And Marion?
I mean, everybody can, I would add, just as a compliment, anyone can make a difference. We were born in Switzerland, and Switzerland is a country where you're able to give your voice. We are able to change anything in our country. We're able to build things from scratch. Last time I went to a speech of Géraldine, she was saying, I've been able to change my suit, and she explains how she did it. I mean, wow, that's amazing. She has been progressing on her own because of her passion, and she has been pushing the company to do the suit based on her passion. I mean, that's fantastic. And if I do the comparison with finance, we've been building a bank from scratch because we were all wanted to make a difference. We wanted to change things. In the end, this is what we're trying to do. We want to, and I took some notes of each of you. You want things to be more individual. This is why you've been joining Alpian as an ambassador, Belinda. Because we adapt to needs of the generation. I think it's so nicely said. Same thing for you, being accessible, Géraldine, and to reach your goal. And in the end, Effie was saying, hybrid of way of investing. I think it summarized it all very well. For us, at least for the banking side, we can do and make a change. I would continue and on this, we can do it. And don't forget to include women, particularly in the field of financials, because we don't see enough women going on top for multiple reasons. Please take a hand, hold them, and let them go into the teams and change this.
So on that wonderfully inspiring edition, thank you everybody for joining us today, in particular to you, Belinda, Géraldine, Effie, and Marion, and to all of you in the audience. I hope that as a team, Alpian, we managed to inspire you to kind of shape your mindset in the growth direction and to show you that the impossible is possible if there is hard work, patience, and passion behind it. And on that, wishing you all a wonderful Equality Month of March. And thank you so much for having been here. Thanks, ladies, and thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.